This one's a little different. The plaintiff bought a decently expensive used truck from Midway Chevy. Who makes it worth your drive? However, right after purchasing it, he found out there was quite a few things wrong with it, but he did his due diligence and purchased that extended warranty, that really expensive one. However, it doesn't cover the things that were wrong with it, and it was going to cost him an extra couple $1,000s. So he is actually suing the dealership for not covering these things under his warranty. But is it the dealership's fault or the manufacturer's fault? It's quite a conundrum.
All right, so from what I can tell is going on here is that plaintiff bought an automobile from defendant, and this was back when? What's the date of sale? Or how long ago? I guess is what.
It was probably 8 months, maybe 6 months. I'm trying to find it here.
So sometime this year?
No, it was last year. Was it last year?
I am looking it up. It was last year.
It was last year because I didn't want to drive it in the winter because I wasn't used to it.
Okay.
Like something signed here December 24th.
Yeah, that's the
delivery date July 12, 2022.
Okay.
All right, for right around 40, we're just shy of 40,000. All right. All right, and then so as part of that, there is some warranty offered up by Midway Chevrolet. It's at least for whatever was left on the original warranty, and then some sort of certified pre-owned. And then so right now, both parties are at least in agreement. We'd still be inside the certified pre-owned at the time the suit was filed, so that's 12 months or 12,000 miles.
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
All right, and then it's my understanding, although I'll let you get more specific here, sir, that your contention is that there was some sort of defective thing going on with the brake lights. You brought it in. You said you expected that would be covered and that should be replaced, and essentially they were not going to cover that. And so when you say $1,276, that is the amount you were quoted to replace the taillights at a different business.
That is correct. That's correct.
All right. Well, that's almost all of it. So that was $1,126.35. I will say this just because I saw it somewhere in there, sort of like, the gas to drive back and forth or time off work. You can't get those in small claims. It's literally out of pocket. So I just want to nail down the amount first. $1,126.35 is what a third party would charge you to rectify this the way that you wish it would be rectified, correct?
That's correct. But it also states when I brought it in, it even says needs lamps replaced. So, but they didn't cover other things as well that were supposed to be covered.
And it is a contention of Midway Chevrolet that this particular issue would not have been covered by the warranty.
Correct. The warranty is through General Motors, and there's a list of exclusions when he buys it.
So essentially, gentlemen, this is just up to either plaintiff explaining to me why this should be covered, or I guess I'll start with defendant. They probably do this a lot more often than plaintiff does, of explaining to me why this is not covered by the warranty.
The certified pre-owned goes through a 178-point inspection. When they buy it, you get 2 maintenance visits, 12/12 warranty, which covers most everything, but not all the trim. Unfortunately, taillights aren't one of the covered items.
This information is brought to you by the hour of my life that I will never get back. Now I know a lot about warranties. So I need to see some paperwork on this one because what I'm finding online is not really adding up. So this is what's on their website. It basically says, here's the warranty, here's what's covered, here's what's not covered. It's all the basic stuff, you know, fire, misuse, don't drive over curbs. Oops, I'd be in trouble. Tire damage from wear, bed liners, contamination of fuel, insufficient or improper maintenance, environmental stuff, tampering with the odometer. I mean, that's all the basic stuff. There is nothing here that links it down. And it says download a copy of the warranty guide, which takes you over to this. And this is what he signed. And this is the bumper to bumper warranty. And this is basically, this is your warranty. And it says maintenance, wear and tear, batteries, brake pads, lining shoes, rotors, tires, and any other service part required to be performed or replaced as recommended by GM maintenance schedule. That's it. Nothing. I don't think taillights are on the maintenance schedule. It says see CPO owner's guide for details. I can't find where that exists. But I did find the owner's guide for the new vehicles by going through this link where it says a full list of what's not covered. And I did find this little thing where it says lights and trim are not covered, but that's when they're due to impacts from driving from foreign objects on the road. I also found this, which is the GM protection plan, which actually applies to new vehicles and the full warranty. And what that says is it does say parts of trim aren't covered, but in nowhere does it define what trim is. So I'm a little irritated with GM. It's like, how are you supposed to know if they don't tell you?
And again, it is through General Motors, and they do sign a decree when they purchase the vehicle, understanding that it's not under bumper to bumper warranty.
All right. And so, and that's, I saw some of that in there. So essentially that 172 points, I mean, I get that. And I'm sure that Mr. Malin understands that. That's checking a lot of things, but that's certainly not checking everything. I'm sure there could be a 10,000 point inspection if you wanted it to. And then here's my question for you, Mr. Cottrill. So, I believe what you said is trim is not covered by the warranty, and that taillights being considered trim, that's not your opinion. That's literally
General
where
Motors
taillights fall.
Yep.
All right. And so essentially that's your argument for this. What's going on here with the vehicle is actually outside of the warranty, and you would certainly be able to fix it, but it would be fix it and pay to fix it, not fix it and it would be free.
Unfortunately, yes.
All right, that's the long and short of it from defendant. And Mr. Malin, I just need you to explain to me why that's not the explanation that I'm supposed to stay with.
Okay, I did call Todd Wenzel, and I was told that
Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Okay, I called another dealer when I had called the other
You called
dealer.
a different dealer. Okay.
Yes, and I was told the taillights are covered under bumper to bumper under the warranty as long as there isn't damage caused by me. They also said that the update for the check engine light that was on was also covered under warranty. And I gotta believe that a taillight is pretty.
Hold on one second. The problem though, essentially what you're telling me is that one dealership, the one that you bought it from, says it's not covered. You called a different dealership that says they think it is covered.
Yes, but I have something else to add to that. I don't remember who it was, but someone from Midway called me on the phone after this, they got the subpoena, and he said he doesn't understand why the gas door wasn't covered. That should be covered under warranty. So it kind of goes back to how would a gas door be covered under warranty, but not brake lights? It just doesn't add up. I mean, it's.
Okay. Well, we're certainly not asking me that. So you're asking a Chevy dealership to explain to you why one of those would be covered and one of them isn't.
Well, no, this was from Midway. This was a gentleman from Midway who called me and said he would like to rectify this situation. And he said that I have the email. He said that the fuel door should be covered under warranty. So I guess I'm confused why a fuel door would be covered, but not taillights. And this is coming from Midway. So he's admitting that a fuel door would be covered, but not taillights. which doesn't add up very
Well,
well.
unless they're saying the fuel door is not considered trim by
Well, that's what
GM.
I mean. And it doesn't make a lot of sense because you got tail
But what
lights.
I mean is, it's not the dealer, and that's why I want to be very clear with Mr. Cottrill. Mr. Cottrill, it is not in your discretion to decide what is considered trim and what is not considered trim. That has
No,
been spelled out to you by GM, correct?
that is correct.
And what you're telling me now under oath is taillights are considered trim by GM. Do you happen to know whether the gas tank door is considered trim or not?
The cover over the door would be considered trim, but the hinge is not. And the hinge is what broke. He never brought that to our attention, so we could take care of that for him.
Well, I think he's just saying they seem to be, let's call them, kissing cousins. Why are you saying one would be covered and not the other?
Yep.
But
Yep.
essentially, here's the problem that I have, Mr. Malin. You're asking me to say, hey, the taillight shouldn't be trim, and so it should be covered. But I have the person here from the dealership who's saying, no, that's what the GM, the policy is of the maker of this vehicle, as far as that warranty is concerned, is that taillight is trim. I need, in other words, his experience or his expertise in this would certainly trump yours, and even both of you might trump me. So who is it that's here explaining to me that taillights should be not considered trim and be covered under warranty?
Technically, it wouldn't even be covered under warranty because this was damage caused by someone else. This is not a warranty issue. This was a vehicle sold to me in good faith that it met this inspection. And if the inspection, I tried to look it up on the web and it.
Here's what I could tell you, what I am willing to say. I guarantee you part of the 172-point inspection is them stepping on the brakes and making sure the brake lights come on. But I'm sure the brake lights did come on. Therefore, it passed the inspection.
Well, one of them was cracked and full of water. I poured a cup of water out after their supposed glue repair. So I don't understand. I guess it's difficult for me to accept. I paid this much money for a vehicle and I expected it to be correct. And even per their paperwork says it needs to be replaced. So I guess, and I consider a tail light to be a safety issue. If the bulb burns out, which it did, it gets full of water. Now the socket's got green corrosion in it. So.
Okay, but that, I get what you're saying, that this is wrong and it needs to be corrected. But what the dealership is saying is, we agree with you, and if you pay us money, we can fix it. Or you can take it somewhere else and pay money to get it fixed. But it's not covered under your warranty, which is when you get to say, hey, I don't have to pay for these problems because they're covered. So
that's correct. It technically isn't a warranty issue. This is a damage issue that was caused by someone else. When they had the vehicle, they did not look at that. I get it. I mean, I don't know how far they look at, but I just, it's tough for me to swallow a $40,000 vehicle with defective taillights that are going to cost me $1,000 to get them repaired.
all right. So, and now sort of we're moving to something different. Are you, and here's where you would come into small claims. That something the dealership did would be considered negligent that led to now your problem with taillights.
That's correct.
But I tell you right now, you wouldn't come in here as a layperson and tell me that. Essentially what you'd have is your mechanic or your person who is a level of expertise is beyond you and me, who says, oh, okay, what you're currently experiencing now is caused by this action, XYZ, and that XYZ is something the dealership did, then you'd be where small claims would say, but for something that they did that they shouldn't have done, you wouldn't have this issue, therefore they need to pay for the issue. But essentially what you're telling me, what I'm hearing is, I paid so much money, it's just not fair that this isn't something they take care of. They should just take care of it. And they're telling you no, and you want the court to somehow address that as a legal issue.
Yes, that's correct.
But one more thing that you did say that I don't want to leave it as a loose end. Where is it that you're referring to that it said somewhere that this taillight would need to, I don't know whether you said the taillight needs to be replaced or something. Let's hear.
You should have it. It's a copy.
I think I do.
A quote. Yeah.
Repair taillight, cement, extra bulbs drilled into taillight housing, remove extra bulbs and seal holes in taillight housing.
So that's the second one. The first one is the one that says diagnose, which is 4/20/23. It says needs lamp replaced.
There it is. Well, okay, but the lamp.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just generalized from the person who was taking the vehicle in and looking at it or what have you. I'm not sure. Because there were several people I talked to. I had 3 different people come out and tell me different things. So the only time that
here's the problem is they're telling you, yeah, lamp needs to be replaced. So it's not covered in warranty. So essentially they're telling you it's like a maintenance or repair that needs to be done. But they didn't do for you because it wasn't covered by warranty. So they're telling you something that needs to be done. The fact that that wasn't taken care of in April, I mean, that would actually be more on you, that now months later, the problem's exacerbated or gotten worse because this wasn't done, what they recommended you do.
I didn't know that was going to be an issue. I thought they would take care of it, but apparently they weren't going to. They wanted me to pay. And like I said, I had called another dealer and they said that it's not true. They're covered under warranty. However, we're at this impasse where it's really technically not a warranty issue.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I would tell you is this. Essentially, if you're getting information, okay, so the dealers are, let's call them equal, right? And GM is above them because they got to take, the dictates from the mountain there. Well, if you have one dealer saying, hey, this isn't covered because taillights are trim, you have another dealer that tells you, no, taillights should be covered under warranty. But essentially what I would need is you having something from GM saying taillights should be covered and aren't trim. Then I would say, well, then the dealership is the wrong party here. The person that's wrong in this equation is Midway Chevy, because GM says it should be covered. So Midway doesn't get to tell you it's not covered when essentially the boss, the maker of the truck and the designer of the warranty is saying it is covered. But we don't have that here. You're saying that essentially a competitor, really, another dealer said, oh, yeah, it should be covered.
Correct. But how would they benefit from, I don't see why they would say something that wasn't true.
I'm not saying that they have necessarily a reason to say that. I'm just saying they're not the right go-to person to tell me that they said that, where I would then overrule what Mr. Cottrell is telling me right now under oath, that as what he knows is that GM has laid this out, that this would not be a warranty issue. And that if it's not a warranty issue, it's simply a repair issue that you chose to not repair now for a while. I'm not sure that's ever going to be on the dealership. That's going to be your choice to not have dealt with it.
I couldn't afford at the time to pay it. That's the $300. It was $550 they were charging me. I don't have that. I bought this truck and it's expensive. The payments are very expensive. I didn't have the money to repair it. What was I to do other than try to rectify it another way, which I didn't know there were holes drilled in it. And that's where it just kind of cascaded. When I had finally looked and saw there were holes in it, that's when I took it back to Midway. And I was told when when I showed it to the service manager, he said, yeah, they do this a lot when they trailer these vehicles. So he said, I bet the other one's the same way. We pulled the other one out. The other one had a hole drilled in it too. But it was.
Well, essentially, I'm assuming that that this truck certainly passed the 172 point inspection, that this is something that is more detailed or farther down the line than something that would be part of that inspection. And therefore, I would not hold the dealership liable for it. So essentially what I'm saying here is my decision is I would find that there would be no cause of action for the defendant to pay you money. That is without prejudice, meaning you could continue to collect information and you might be able to refile this and come back. Essentially, like I said, something from GM would have gone a long way to change my mind that it should be covered by the dealership. But where we stand right now, I don't have enough evidence to rule that, so I would not. All right. So I will say this to both of you, although I'm not sure why the dealership would be interested in this, but either party has a right to say, I don't agree with what just happened there. I want to appeal this to the general civil in front of the district court judges. To do so, you must do that within 7 days of today's date, and you must come in to do that in writing. Otherwise, your window to appeal what I just decided closes. You understand your rights on appeal, Mr. Merlin?
Yes, I do.
All right. Then, gentlemen, I'm going to thank you and go ahead and dismiss you. We're done for what we needed to do here today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.